aquestes... Ara us ho diu també, haureu sentit que us avisa que es grava la sessió. Dit això, doncs, deia que em deixéssiu començar aquestes molt breus paraules d'obertura, agraint al Col·legi d'Europa i més concretament als responsables del campus de Natolin, l'organització, juntament amb DIPLOCAT, d'aquesta sessió que ja fa uns quants anys que organitzem plegats. També vull agrair al Consell Interuniversitari de Catalunya, entitat membre del ple de DIPLOCAT, i especialment a la seva secretària general, la Laura Roman, que avui també ens acompanya, la seva col·laboració en l'organització d'aquesta sessió per tal de poder arribar al màxim nombre possible d'estudiants del sistema universitari català. Com alguns de vosaltres ja sabeu, DIPLOCAT és un consorci de composició público-privada que treballa per explicar la realitat catalana a l'exterior i donar a conèixer els valors i els actius de Catalunya entre l'opinió pública internacional. També treballem per establir llaços de confiança amb la ciutadania i les institucions d'altres països i per fomentar la formació en l'àmbit de les relacions internacionals i la Unió Europea. Aquest és el punt que, concretament avui, aquest eix és el que ens emmarca aquesta actuació. Formen part de DIPLOCAT les principals institucions públiques, econòmiques, socials i educatives catalanes, com són la Generalitat de Catalunya, les 4 diputacions, el Consell General de l'Aran, els principals ajuntaments i les 2 entitats municipalistes de Catalunya i també, i aquí un altre punt important, les 12 universitats catalanes, les cambres de comerç, patronals, sindicats i fins i tot el Futbol Club Barcelona. DIPLOCAT treballa sota el lema Diàleg internacional, connectar, projectar i capacitar. Per tant, com deia abans, un dels nostres principals eixos d'actuació és la formació en relacions internacionals de la ciutadania, de les entitats i de les administracions de Catalunya mitjançant el programa de beques i també organitzant cursos de formació especialitzada. Avui el que ens ocupa aquí és justament el programa de beques. Les beques van ser atorgades per primera vegada l'any 1982, pel que aleshores era, que no sé si us sonarà, el Patronat Català per Europa, del qual DIPLOCAT n'és la institució hereva. I estem molt contents d'anunciar que enguany en celebrem el 40è aniversari. Aquestes beques van comptar des del seu llançament amb el patrocini de la Federació Catalana de Caixes d'Estalvis, que va ser continu fins a la seva dissolució l'any 2017. I també del 2013 fins al 2018 van comptar amb el patrocini de l'obra social La Caixa. Des de la seva instauració, el programa de beques ha tingut com a objectiu promoure la formació d'especialistes en qüestions relatives a la Unió Europea i les relacions internacionals, per tal que Catalunya disposi de professionals preparats per desenvolupar un rol actiu en aquests sectors i en les institucions, empreses i entitats catalanes en projecció global. Amb aquest objectiu, doncs, durant aquests 39 anys, més de 300 estudiants s'han beneficiat d'aquests ajuts i han tingut l'oportunitat d'ampliar els seus estudis en un entorn internacional. Molts dels antics becaris i antigues becàries estan actualment treballant tant en llocs de responsabilitat a les institucions europees o en organitzacions internacionals, com també en despatxos d'advocats, en el Departament Internacional d'Empreses, a l'administració o a la universitat com a docents, només per esmentar alguns dels àmbits laborals en els quals sabem que es troben treballant. Esperem que enguany cobrirem la 41a convocatòria, el programa de beques torni a ser un èxit i segueixi contribuint a la formació de la societat civil catalana en l'àmbit internacional, com ha estat fent tots aquests anys. I sense més dilació, ara em plau cedir la paraula a la Laura Roman, secretària general del CIC. Després tindrem les presentacions dels diferents estudis que ofereix el Col·legi d'Europa i també específicament del programa de beques de DIPLOCAT. En primer lloc intervendran en Matías Filipín, director de Publicitat i Selecció del Col·legi d'Europa de Natolin a Varsòvia, Polònia, que farà la presentació en anglès, i l'Ivan Hortal Sánchez, exalumne del Col·legi d'Europa Natolin i exbecari de DIPLOCAT de la promoció 2021, i ells us explicaran les diferents oportunitats d'estudi que ofereix el campus de Natolin del Col·legi d'Europa. Posteriorment, l'Elisabet Moragas, cap de projecte sènior a DIPLOCAT, us explicarà en detall el programa de beques de DIPLOCAT. Així que aquí us deixo amb molt bones mans i, Laura, quan vulguis, endavant. Ai, Laura, estàs silenciada. Has d'obrir el micròfon.
Ara sí?
Sí, ara, perfecte, gràcies.
Perdoneu, moltes gràcies, Laura, i deia en el silenci del meu despatx que en primer lloc és un plaer per mi estar aquí en aquesta sessió d'informació sobre les beques de DIPLOCAT. Dono fe que són unes beques consolidades, històriques, i dono fe perquè ja fa més de 30 anys jo també vaig participar, de certa manera, a través, en aquell moment, del Patronat Català per Europa. Per tant, en primer lloc, agraïm moltíssim això, permetre'm estar aquí i dirigir-vos unes molt breus paraules. Moltes gràcies a DIPLOCAT i moltes gràcies també al Col·legi d'Europa, que impulsa, ho sabem des de fa molt temps, aquesta iniciativa i amb un compromís extraordinari. Jo soc Laura Roman. La Laura Foraster presentava i deia que soc la secretària general del Consell Interuniversitari de Catalunya. El Consell Interuniversitari de Catalunya és un òrgan, és una institució que aplega el conjunt de les 12 universitats catalanes i que té com a missió fonamental coordinar justament aquestes universitats i, per tant, coordinar el sistema universitari de Catalunya. Tenim diferents funcions, però de la que us vull parlar només 2 minuts és una funció que per nosaltres és essencial, que és la de promocionar i promoure, per tant, també els estudis internacionals i promocionar internacionalment també el sistema universitari de Catalunya. Això explica que avui estigui aquí i que col·labori sempre que sigui possible en qualsevol iniciativa d'aquest tipus. Des del Consell Interuniversitari impulsem algunes iniciatives. Jo vull parlar molt ràpidament de dues perquè afecten en les que comptem amb la col·laboració d'estudiants de les nostres universitats. Una és un programa que es diu UNICAT Ambaixadors, que és la possibilitat que estudiants de les diferents universitats catalanes siguin ambaixadors de la Unió Europea i, per tant, participin a casa seva, participin en les seves universitats, en les promocions de possibilitats laborals a l'àmbit de la Unió Europea. I el segon és un programa de pràctiques en les delegacions del Govern de la Generalitat davant de la Unió Europea, que també, de certa manera, col·laborem i coordinem. Són iniciatives que s'inscriuen justament en la línia del que avui us volen parlar, que és justament promocionar i informar-vos d'aquestes ajudes, d'aquestes beques, que són fonamentals, ho deia la Laura, i jo insisteixo, fonamentals en la formació especialitzada en estudis europeus i internacionals dels nostres estudiants. Per nosaltres és importantíssim que rebeu aquesta informació, que us puguem ajudar, òbviament, en aquest objectiu i que després puguem aprofitar la vostra expertesa, els vostres coneixements de tornada, si torneu, que segurament sí, aquí a casa nostra. Bé, simplement agrair-vos a tots la vostra i el vostre interès, novament agrair d'Europa l'oportunitat de dirigir-vos aquestes paraules aquí i impulsar aquesta iniciativa. Moltes gràcies i deixo la paraula als que estan molt justament d'aquest projecte. Moltes gràcies.
Gràcies, Laura. Mattia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So good afternoon. Thank you very much for the co-organization of this webinar. We are very happy to have the chance, like in previous years, to present the College of Europe in Natolin and its Interdisciplinary Studies program to students from Catalonia, and to give them the chance also to apply for the DIPLOCAT scholarships, which are offered in the framework of this program. My name is Mattia Filippin. I'm the Director of Publicity and Student Recruitment at the College of Europe in Natolin, and I'm here together with Ivan. Ivan, please introduce yourself.
Yes, I will do it in Catalan. Bona tarda a tothom. Jo soc l'Ivan, vaig ser estudiant al Col·legi d'Europa Natolin a la promoció Mario Suárez 2020-2021 i juntament amb el Matia doncs, faré la presentació d'aquests estudis que realment recomano i espero que gràcies a aquesta presentació us animeu a sol·licitar-los.
Thank you. So yes, I forgot also to mention that I'm also an alumnus of the College of European Interdisciplinary, and I studied in the promotion 2011-2012. In the chat, I just shared with you our link for our newsletter. Feel free to register. We send only a couple emails, every couple months, and like that you can keep in touch with what we do, be informed about the application deadlines, see our videos and our activities that we organize in Natolin. So I will share now my screen to conduct this presentation together with Ivan. Just a couple words about, you should be seeing my screen now. Does it work?
Yes, it does.
It's visible. Okay. So just a couple words about the College of Europe. So you may have heard already about this institute. It was the first institute worldwide established with the goal to teach European affairs and to contribute to the process of European integration. This back in 1948, so basically only 3 years after the end of the Second World War. So you can imagine how visionary this attempt was back then to come up with such an institute which would bring Europeans together just 3 years after, in fact, the war in Europe had ended. Different statesmen, you can see them on the picture, Churchill, De Gasperi, Madariaga, Spaak, decided to establish the College of Europe. A first campus was located in Bruges, in Belgium. And then once again, in 1992, again anticipating its times, the College of Europe established another campus in Warsaw, in Poland, where I am based and where both Ivan and I studied. After the Cold War, basically, and well before, as you know, 2004, when these countries would have then joined again the European family. So that is a little bit also the mission of the college, to contribute to the process of European integration. That is also why it is sponsored by the European Union, by the countries of the EU and beyond, and as well, of course, including DIPLOCAT, who is hosting us today. And the goal is basically preparing those who then in the future would work in the public sector, in the private sector, on matters of European affairs and on those topics. So moving to Natolin, why is Natolin particularly interesting for you? First of all, because of its location. Natolin is in Warsaw, the capital of Poland. So we are at the eastern frontier of the European Union. Particularly for students coming from the West, from the South, from Spain, from Italy, from France, etc. Studying in Poland can be a very interesting experience in order to really also gather the perspective on European affairs from both lungs of our continent, because of course you're accustomed to the perspective that you learn at universities in Catalonia. And you have, the Catalan perspective, the Spanish perspective on European affairs, etc. It's also interesting to know the point of view from Central and Eastern Europe, especially if you want to become an expert in European affairs, or a future diplomat, or a think tanker, or an academician. So we are based there, and this also means that our focus is, on the one hand, on our location, so on Central and Eastern Europe, but very much the focus of Natolin is on the neighbors, so on the countries which are not part of the European Union yet, but have relations with the European Union. And those are the countries which are part of the enlargement policy of the European Union, meaning the Balkans, Turkey, and now also, as you know, we have as candidate countries Ukraine and Moldova, and the parliament recently recommended Georgia for the same path. But also those countries which are part of the European neighborhood policy, meaning in the east, the South Caucasus, so Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, and Belarus, Ukraine, and Moldova. And particularly interesting for you, because you would be coming to Natolin to pursue Euro-Mediterranean studies, we focus very much on the Southern Mediterranean. So the whole area of the Maghreb, the Mashrek, the Middle East, and in general, Northern Africa. So that is our focus, the internal workings and the relations with the neighborhoods. Also, why interdisciplinarity? What does it mean? It means that in our understanding, it is the best way to study European affairs. Why? Think about any problem that our continent is facing today. Any: migration, energy, climate transition, the war in Ukraine. You know, any topic that comes to mind cannot just be analyzed from one discipline. You cannot just see it from the legal angle, or from the economic angle, or from the social angle. If you look at it from an interdisciplinary angle, then you will have a full understanding of the problem at hand, and maybe you will even be able to figure out possible or suggest possible solutions. That is why we believe interdisciplinarity as an approach is the best one to analyze European affairs. And that is how we do it in Natolin. In addition, it's not interdisciplinarity alone. It's about having courses which are problem-based. It means that any teachings are not just European economics, European law, European institutions. They are all structured around problems and challenges that the continent is facing, so that they're very actual, they're very much updated every year. Imagine that we update the program by 20-25% every year, depending on the challenges that our continent and the European Union are facing. Finally, this does not derive from the sky. It's something that we have developed over 30 years of experience. And you can see in this chart a little bit how we imagine our offer. We imagine it as a holistic offer divided into three core elements: knowledge, which we want to convey to you; skills, which we want you to build up, boost, and improve while you are at Natolin, both in terms of languages and professional skills; and finally, the campus experience, the interculturality, the fact that you will be living in one place for 10 months with students coming from more than 30 countries. So all of this together is the offer that we are giving to you. Not just the knowledge, not just the skills part, and not just the campus experience. It's a whole unicum, holistically designed for you. And finally, the offer, be it that it is interdisciplinary, it automatically also means that it is the largest offer at the College of Europe, because it needs to encompass so many topics. That also means that there is not a single student in Natolin following exactly the same path of one of their fellow students. There are simply so many combinations that you can choose from that you will have your individual personalized experience according to your specific interests. I will go to the next slide, and then I will leave the floor to Ivan for the specifics on the semesters. So the Advanced Master of Arts in European Interdisciplinary Studies has 4 specializations. You can see them mentioned here, and Ivan will also see them a little bit more in detail. EU Public Affairs and Policies, we look at the inner workings of the European Union, the EU and the world, so the relations with the global powers, the EU and its complex neighborhoods, so basically the regional dimension I mentioned before, and the historical perspective in European history and civilization. We have around 120 plus academics and practitioners every year, and consider that we have 120 plus students, which means that basically we have a ratio 1-to-1 students, professors. The course is in English and in French. We assist you in whichever way to improve both languages. 10 months residential on campus. And I leave the floor to Ivan for the next part.
Thank you, Mattia. Yeah, so I will talk about the first semester, which has like some common courses that you would need to follow. So there are some mandatory courses on history, especially on history of Central and Eastern Europe, and then you have the opportunity to choose between the pluridisciplinary track or the interdisciplinary track. The main difference is that the pluridisciplinary track is the one that it's set by default in a way, and it's especially meant for those students who have maybe a more basic knowledge on the EU because they haven't done European studies before, or they haven't dealt in depth with these issues. And you would have, in that case, 3 courses dealing with EU institutions, EU law, and also EU economic governance. Then at the beginning of the year, if you think that, for example, if you are, as it was my case, studied law, so I already thought that EU law, I had acquired that knowledge. You can decide to take a test, an entry test, and then you can choose other courses from this interdisciplinary track. Then they change every year, but Mattia, correct me if I'm wrong, but they are on energy. There's one on internet global governance, and the other one is on state and economy.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. So then you can go more in depth on these issues. Then at the same time, you also have some these are the core courses, but then you also have the possibility to attend seminars, to attend workshops, to attend optional courses, to attend simulation games. So it's really a very diverse there are very diverse options that you can choose. The next slide, please. This is what Mattia mentioned about the majors. So just to briefly mention them, this is in the second semester, so you would have to choose one of the 4. And then, as you can see, there are more than 80 courses in total. So that's why it's very difficult to see that 2 students have similar courses. So then the first one on EU public affairs and policies. This one deals, for those of you who studied political science, it would deal with similar issues from an EU perspective. So you have, for example, issues like internal market, economics, migration, energy, etc., with an important economic focus as well. Then if you are interested more in international relations, you have the major on the EU and the world, and here you would analyze the relations between the EU and China or other Asian partners or Africa and so on, the US. And here you would go in detail to issues like trade, like investment, like energy, and so on. Then the third major, and this is the one I took. It's called the EU and its complex neighborhoods. Before it was called the EU and its neighborhoods, but now there's this new word, complex, which I think it's very telling of the difficult reality that we are seeing in our neighborhood. In that case, you would deal with the countries of the Eastern Partnership, those of the southern neighborhood, so Middle East, North Africa, candidate countries also in the Western Balkans, and Turkey. And you have the opportunity to go more in depth depending on your interest. And finally, another interesting major is the European History and Civilization. And this one is also like the range of topics is also very diverse. My case, I remember I did a course on totalitarian regimes, but you can also do courses on the history of diplomacy, of democracy, on economics, etc., and even specific history courses on the Balkans, of Central Eastern Europe, or the Mediterranean. And all the students of the 3 first majors have to choose a course on European history and civilization. The next slide, please. One thing that makes this master unique and different from others is the possibility to have 2 study trips. The first semester, and this was implemented actually during my promotion as a result of the pandemic. There's this study trip called Borderlands, where you have different choices for like around Poland, but where you can basically go to for example, the border part between Poland and Lithuania, or between Poland and Czech Republic and Germany, and see like the specificities of these areas. And then and they take more or less 1 week. Then you have a full immersion with experts, also with decision makers, and then you also have the possibility to see the reality on the ground. And then the second semester, then you have the possibility to choose between different regional visits. This changes depending on the year. And you can see here some pictures. There's normally one trip to Brussels, where you can see the EU institutions. Then there's another one to the Western Balkans. Here the second picture is in Mostar in Bosnia-Herzegovina. And then depending also on the security situation, there may be trips to the Middle East or North Africa, or to the Eastern neighborhood. Next slide, please. So yeah, as part of another peculiarity, let's say, of the College of Europe in Natolin, is this concept of flying faculty. So the fact that you have more than 120 practitioners and experts and professors come to Natolin to teach, but then they are not permanently based in Warsaw. However, you have 2 academic chairs who despite not being always in Natolin, they are more present there. And there's a chair on European civilization, and which basically deals with history, especially Central and Eastern Europe. And then one of the main specificities of this master is, because also of its location, it's the European neighborhood policy, so both towards the east and towards the south. Then regarding the Natolin nests, during my promotion we only had 3, but now I see we have the double. Then we had the one on energy and climate, migration and media, and now there are 3 more on digital transformation, religion and politics, and geostrategy. So these are basically optional working groups that you can join, and then you can organize either conferences or visits with other students, and also in collaboration with academic assistants and professors. Regarding the events, there are many high-level visits in the college. For example, in my promotion, we had the pleasure to have Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, the president of the Belarusian opposition and of the Democratic Belarus, who made some introductory remarks. But then there have been other important figures at the EU level. So we see in the second picture Josep Borrell, High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, also François Hollande, former French president. And at the same time, you have a numerous amount of international conferences and debates, now more offline, I hope, than online, but still you will get always the chance to learn about many different topics. Next slide, please. Then another important and unique feature of this master is its focus on languages. So you will have the opportunity to take up to 2 languages at the same time, 2 language courses throughout the year. And here you can see the 8 possibilities you can choose. So of course, English and French as the 2 official languages of the college, but then you have also the opportunity to choose Arabic, German, Italian, Polish, Russian, and well, Spanish, I guess you already speak it. So regarding the the Summer Language Academy. This is 3 weeks of intensive courses, which is normally in French, because this is the language that is more difficult for students, because people tend to focus more on in English, but then French is also important for these studies. So that's why also there's this extra opportunity to have a French e-learning course during the summer and during the year, which focuses on the basics, so that you can also succeed in your courses in French. And then you have also two opportunities to do language certificate exams, and it doesn't matter if you have already joined a course before, a language course, so you can just do it anyway. And then you will have an official certificate, which you can use to apply for jobs, for example. Then another important department is the one that deals with careers and professional development. The College of Europe has a personalized department that provides one-to-one career guidance for students. And then from time to time, there are also different workshops where you can, for example, prepare for this EPSO competition training. This is to become an EU official. Then you also have debates, for example, on to improve your skills in your communication skills, and many other options that depend on each promotion. And networking events are also now possible again after the pandemic, and you can basically meet other practitioners or other experts who are already working, either in the institutions or in the so-called EU bubble, and then you can even also meet more informally with alumni in different reunions. Next slide, please. Yeah, well, the student life, which is of course very important, because not everything is about studying. This is, as Mattia mentioned, this is a very diverse community. So in my promotion, we had 134 students coming from, don't remember how many countries, but definitely more than 30. And this covers not only the EU, but also its neighborhood. So you will end up with a lot of colleagues and friends from different countries. Then regarding these activities, which are led by the students, there's the option to do national or cultural days that deal with, for example, the traditions, the food of your own countries or regions. So in my promotion, we had a mix of an Iberian and also Latin American day, where we basically were for example, cooking traditional dishes or doing some workshops. We were also celebrating San Jordi, I remember, with the roses and the books. So it's also a good way to promote your own countries and to learn more about each other's countries. Regarding the accommodation, you will have your own private room, with then also with a student restaurant that provides breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, as well as the possibility to have different outdoor and indoor activities. There's, for example, a football pitch. There's a small gym. There's also sauna. There's a ping pong room, etc. Then you also have the opportunity to talk to the student affairs office and to the counseling people there, in case you have any problem, be it related to your studies or in general with your student life. And then there's also a very big library with like thousands of books and also articles that you can access. Maybe next slide.
So maybe just a couple of words then about the campus in the prospect of Warsaw. So the campus is in the southern part of the capital. It is nestled within a natural reserve, 120 hectares. this used to be the royal hunting grounds of the kings of Poland. So they belong to the Polish aristocracy. And now they're basically hosting our 120-30 students plus our staff members. So it's a sort of little Hogwarts just for the students of the College of Europe in Natolin. The city itself, Warsaw, it's a beautiful city. It's very vibrant. It's very young. Plenty of activities, cultural, leisure, museums. You know, you have music, you have it all. Cinemas. You can really enjoy your free time in the city. It hosts around 300,000 students. More and more students spending time during their Erasmus studies in Warsaw, around 70,000 every year. And you can also see that it hosts certain institutions such as Frontex, EOSC office. The city center of Warsaw is a UNESCO protected World Heritage Site. So a city definitely worth visiting, even aside of the College of Europe experience, and beautiful to live in. I speak from experience, having spent more than 10 years in Warsaw. And here you can see some more pictures from the campus in the different seasons. And as we said, it is a natural reserve. So we also have animals there, deers, foxes, squirrels, etc. So you can spot them in the forest when you go jogging, running, when you decide to unwind a little bit in the nature. And you can also see that we are really taking advantage of this beautiful setting by organizing also our closing ceremony outside, weather permitting. We have a palace. You can see it here in the background, where we organize the Natolin Ball at the end of the year. So where students get to have this last get together, let's say, dancing, waltz, and other dances to basically celebrate the end of the journey. In terms of employment, a couple figures. So we have by now 16,000 plus alumni, Bruges and Natolin combined. They are, of course, in many different sectors. We have done some statistical analysis in Natolin of the last 7 academic years, and we can tell you that within 3 months of graduation, 60% of our students land a job, and 40% a paid internship that then leads to a job. So you can see it's a very high rate, and it happens very quickly after the studies, because the students most often manage to secure already a job during the studies themselves. So they just simply finish the studies and start working. 36% of them are in institutions of the European Union, the agencies, international organizations, and diplomacy, of course. We have several diplomats as well. 32% decide to go for the private sector, or at least to start with the private sector. And you have companies, consultancies, law firms, etc., as experts or European affairs, of course. 12% continue with a PhD or in academia, becoming think tankers, researchers, professors. 10% are in national and regional public administration. 5% go for the NGO sector, associations, trade unions, etc., foundations, and 4% other organizations. So you can see there is a very nice amount of paths for you after the college. In terms of scholarships, so you have, of course, a website, collioure.eu/scholarship, where you can see everything that is available to you. You know about the DIPLOCAT scholarships, which are for which you will need to apply. Also, specifically, there will be a call for applications. So you will have to apply for the college, and also separately for the DIPLOCAT scholarship. The same applies for the governmental scholarships given by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Spain, so ICIT. For those also, you need to submit a specific application. And then you can see also other regions or even the Canary Islands offer scholarships to students coming from Spain. So more than 70% of our students have scholarships. I can give you an even better figure, because Natolin last year had students 88% covered with partial or full scholarships. And this year we are at 91%. So 70% is just an average. We always try to, do better. And I have to say that in the last years, we've always done better. Always more than 80% of the students were covered, partially or fully, up to this year when we reached a record of 91%. So that's an amazing percentage rate. So you should not be worried about funding options, because as said, there are many, many opportunities out there. In addition to DIPLOCAT, to what I mentioned, there are also the scholarships granted by the college itself. In Natolin, we give the ENP scholarships for citizens of the European Union. For this, you need to add an additional motivation letter when you apply, specifying why you're interested in the European neighborhood policy and maybe specifically Euro-Mediterranean studies, no? Southern dimension, let's say, of the ENP. And then these scholarships are awarded by motivation and merit. We do have this same scholarship for students coming from that region. And then we have additional 2 scholarship schemes for students interested in history, and European civilization. Again, a motivation letter is needed specifically for that, and they go from partial to full. And finally, journalism, communication, media, same story. If you have a background in those fields, you can be considered, and they go from partial to full. So you can see several ways to finance your studies. This is the palace, by the way, in Natolin, so you can see another picture of it. These are not relevant for today's presentation. Just to give you an idea of the value of the program, as said, do not be scared off by this figure, because as I mentioned just a second ago, 9 out of 10 students this year are covered, partially or fully. But to give you an idea, the value is 27,000 euro in Natolin for the next academic year. It includes everything you have seen until now, 2 study trips fully covered, 1 week each, the Summer Language Academy, the introductory courses, meals 3 times a day, including public holidays, medical care, accommodation with your private room. So everything is in this amount. And as said, the scholarships are particularly interesting. And finally, the admissions criteria. As we are an interdisciplinary program, it goes without saying that we are taking students from any possible discipline. Of course, the majority come from profiles such as law, economics, political, social sciences, history, languages, but we also have students of philosophy, of geography, of journalism, even reaching to natural sciences and engineering. We had mathematicians, we had biologists, it depends. Many people decide to then go for a European career coming from a specific field, and they feel that they're missing that knowledge that an interdisciplinary course can give to them. The important thing is to have completed at least 4 years of studies. So a 4-year bachelor is fine. You can apply during your 4th year. That's not a problem, so that you're not going to miss any year. You can apply during your 4th and last year, graduate by the summer or just before you start, and then in September, start in Natolin. We do have some cases when students still need to go back in October or November to defend their master's thesis. That's fine, as long as all of your exams are done. If not, it becomes really tough to, complete the previous studies and at the same time enroll in such a demanding program like the one at the college. English level minimum B2. French, we can accept a slightly inferior level, provided that you're willing to improve your French before you come with private courses or, as ever you wish. And over the summer, we give you access to a platform, and then we invite you for the Summer Language Academy, 3 weeks intensive French. Plus, when you start the academic year, you will have tutorials and English in French and English classes if you wish. So everything is provided in order to make sure that you are able to achieve and manage also in terms of language skills. The areas of interest are, of course, the ones that we covered in the presentation of what we do. And finally, applications are currently open. So even right now, if you were to go to the website, you would be able to start an application because we opened on the 12th of October. We close on the 16th of January. So please do not wait until the last moment, because of course you need to collect certain documents, and it's never nice if, for lack of time, you're not able to complete the application, or because you wait too long, that maybe then, the last minute, you're not able to submit it. So make sure to, prepare everything on time. You apply on admissions.coleurope.eu. Everything is online. There is no application fee. You upload the documents, everything that is required, and we will make a pre-selection. And if everything is fine, you will be invited for an interview also with DIPLOCAT. We will check your, knowledge, your motivation, and then you will be considered for the admission. And possibly also for the scholarships that are provided among the many that we have shown you. And of course, DIPLOCATs are particularly interesting. This is the end of the presentation. This is not just a slogan in its emptiness, as at times you have for any possible product in terms of marketing. This is really our, let's say, belief that if you come to Natolin and you spend 1 year on our campus, you will leave it with a widened perspective, not just on European affairs, but on the world in general, on you as a human being, on the personal relations you will forge during the academic year, on the connections that you will have for the future, on the professional prospects you will manage to start. So all of this is part of our leitmotif, and we believe in it very much. And in order to give you a final taste of the place before we open to questions, I will show you a very, very, very quick short video that gives you a feeling of Natolin. So let me just share my screen again with sound, and you will see it in a moment. So it's this one here. Here we go.
Imagine a place where nature and study intertwine, a learning environment with history written into its walls, an academic culture grounded in understanding and the pursuit of excellence, and home to a community forged of shared values and aspirations. Imagine a place where knowledge blossoms, tailored towards personal and professional development, nourished by the experiences and perspectives of many, and by the minds at its very heart. Imagine a wider perspective. Imagine Natolin.
So thank you very much for your attention. That's it on our side, and we can move on with the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Mattia. If you don't mind, we will do the presentation of DIPLOCAT scholarships first, and then we do the question and answers at the end. I will do the presentation in Catalan. Thank you, Ivan and Mattia, for your very interesting presentation. Estudiar en realitzar aquests màsters i estudiar fora té un cost molt elevat. Ja ho heu vist, us han dit que el cost per fer el màster a Natolin són 27.000 euros. DIPLOCAT som conscients d'aquesta dificultat ja fa molts anys, ho ha dit la nostra secretària general al principi, ja fa 40 anys vam establir un programa de beques. Amb aquest programa de beques el que volem és que estudiants catalans, universitats catalanes, puguin realitzar màsters fora de l'estat espanyol en universitats estrangeres, sempre per ampliar estudis i esdevenir professionals en temes internacionals i europeus. Amb aquest objectiu obrim 2 convocatòries l'any, unes per realitzar estudis internacionals en general, ja siguin europeus, de defensa, amb molt tipus, sempre dic de cooperació, drets humans, desenvolupament, etc. I l'altre programa de beques que tenim és l'específic per realitzar el màster que us han explicat avui del campus a Natolin, del Col·legi d'Europa. Per les beques generals donem 10 beques en total aquest any, les hem augmentat considerablement perquè veiem que són molt útils. És un instrument que ajuda molt a la internacionalització del país i a la professionalització dels estudiants catalans. I pel cas de Natolin donem 2 beques, és a dir, donem 12 beques en total. Totes les beques tenen un muntant de 27.000 euros, és a dir, veieu que coincideix amb el muntant amb el que costa el màster a Natolin. Això implicaria que cobriria totes les despeses, perquè Natolin, com us han explicat, inclou no només els estudis, sinó també l'allotjament, els àpats, etc. Quins són els requisits perquè us pugueu presentar aquestes beques? Els mateixos requisits quasi que teniu per complir, per exemple, per fer el màster de Natolin, és a dir, heu d'haver acabat un grau o estar en el darrer any, però en aquest cas el grau l'heu d'acabar també en la convocatòria de juny. Nosaltres us demanem un bon expedient acadèmic. En el cas de les beques generals, són aquestes 10, demaneu un 7,5 sobre 10. Aquesta nota ha de sortir en el certificat acadèmic que ens lliureu. En el cas de les beques per anar al Col·legi d'Europa de Natolin, també demanem que sigui un bon expedient, però no demanem aquest requisit que sigui un 7,5 sobre 10. D'acord? En tots els casos heu de conèixer bé les llengües de treball dels centres on anireu a realitzar el màster, els estudis. Això depèn de cada centre. Per anar al Col·legi d'Europa, al campus de Natolin, ja us han dit que necessiteu un B2 d'anglès i un A2 B1 de francès, però en aquest cas hauríeu de fer uns cursos extras per aprofundir-ho. Però per realitzar altres màsters igual us demanen un C1 d'anglès, un C2, etc. Això ja depèn de cadascun dels llocs i centres on vulgueu fer els estudis. En el nostre cas, a més, perquè pugueu demanar les beques, heu d'acreditar un nivell C de català, tenir la nacionalitat d'un dels estats membres de la Unió Europea, de l'Espai Econòmic Europeu o dels països candidats. I com a requisits no en destacaria cap més. Els podeu veure a la nostra web perquè estan penjades les convocatòries de l'any anterior. Sempre allà es recull i es diu tots els requisits i ho podeu anar refrescant. En quant als tràmits, a veure, nosaltres publiquem sempre les beques al DOC, el Diari Oficial de la Generalitat de Catalunya, i des del moment que es publiquen teniu únicament 15 dies per presentar-vos. I es fa tot a través del tràmit GenCat. Per què dic això? Dic que això que el termini és molt curt, per tant, igual que ara us ha dit el Màtia, no espereu fins a l'últim dia per preparar tota la documentació que us demana i no espereu fins al 16 de novembre per demanar la inscripció en el col·legi. En el cas de les beques, jo també us aconsellaria, entreu a la nostra web, mireu els requisits que estem demanant per les beques que ja vam tancar aquest any, perquè, de fet, serà el mateix que us demanarem en la propera convocatòria. També us recomanem que, si esteu interessats en la beca, ompleneu el formulari que tenim a la nostra web. Tenim un formulari de contacte i ja podeu dir que esteu interessats en rebre informació de les convocatòries de beques i nosaltres us tindrem puntualment informats. I això ho insistim molt perquè d'aquesta manera sempre guanyeu un dia o dos, perquè us diem, mira, ja estem penjant la documentació a la web, ja sortirà publicat i així també podeu estar al cas. Destacar de les beques, m'he oblidat de comentar una cosa, i per això sort que ho tinc tot apuntat, i és que per poder rebre la nostra beca heu d'haver estat acceptat en el màster que voleu realitzar. I això ho heu de tenir molt present, perquè les nostres beques, les convocatòries no sortiran fins al mes de febrer, març o abril, fins i tot de l'any que ve. I el termini serà després per 15 dies, però clar, quan nosaltres obrim la nostra convocatòria, potser les períodes de preinscripció dels màsters que voldríeu realitzar ja estan tancats. Per tant, jo sempre recomano a les persones que volen demanar les nostres beques que ara ja pensin, si tenen intenció de fer-les, quins màsters volen anar a estudiar fora, que mirin quins són els requisits, els terminis d'aquests màsters, perquè ja ho heu vist, per estudiar al Col·legi d'Europa, ja sigui el campus de Bruixes com el de Natolin, us heu d'haver preinscrit abans del 16 de gener. I si després veniu i demaneu una beca per realitzar aquests màsters i no heu estat preinscrits, nosaltres ja sabem que no estareu mai admesos i no podreu rebre la beca. Llavors, això sempre us recomanem molt que ho feu amb antelació. Jo crec que dit això no destacaria res més. Insisteixo, si esteu interessats en les nostres beques, inscriviu-vos a través de la nostra web, que és DIPLOCAT.cat, en l'apartat de contacte, el formulari que trobareu allà a la homepage. Dit això, no m'allargo més, crec que és hora que ens pugueu fer preguntes tant a mi com a el Màtia i a l'Ivan. No sé si teniu algunes preguntes, ho podeu fer pel xat o directament agafant la paraula. don't know if there are any
there are
questions.
no silly questions. Everything is you know, just ask whatever comes to mind, you know, any doubts you might have, and we are here to help.
The first question is always the most difficult one.
I see one in the chat.
Yes.
Just to confirm, the master is 1 year, right? Yes, the master is 10 months. It starts in September and it ends at the end of June. So yes, 10 months. Any other questions, doubts? Feel free to write them in the chat directly if you do not want to speak out. No problem. Okay, they start appearing now.
Somebody asked about the English. They said that last year you asked for C1 and this year B2 for Natolin. Did you modify?
I mean, I mean, normally C1 would be ideal. B2 is kind of something we can still accept, but then it would mean that you should not also struggle in French, no? So C1 will be the ideal level for English. It will also be much simpler for you to follow the classes. B2 is not the end of the world, of course. I mean, because it's still something that you can improve. I mean, from B2 to C1, the jump is not that difficult.
La meva companya, la Rosa, la Rosa Navarra ha ficat un enllaç aquí on teniu més informació directa de les beques. Ho he posat al chat.
Yeah, and there was someone, Laura, asking regarding the journalism outcomes, what are the options? Do you mean now for the journalism scholarships, or do you mean for the professional paths after you finish, in terms of, you know, if you want to continue in the field of journalism?
Aquí diuen que no per Natolin, sinó que es referia a la beca de DIPLOCAT. No, nosaltres a DIPLOCAT demanem el C1 de català, val? Però els idiomes acostumem a demanar un nivell alt d'idiomes, però normalment depèn del centre, perquè l'acceptació us la donarà el centre i és el centre que us dirà quin és el nivell d'idioma que tindreu. Igual és un centre que s'estudia en alemany i us demanen un B2 d'alemany. Si és un centre que demanen, com en el cas de Natolin, un B2, doncs nosaltres no demanarem un C1. Vale.
Sorry, a question. Yes, it is unnecessary to have Spanish nationality. I am Colombian, but I did degree in law at the University of Catalonia. I have near.
Regarding the scholarships, are you asking?
Yes.
No problem.
No problem.
No, you have to be a student of a Catalan university. You don't need to have the Catalan because there doesn't exist a Catalan nationality.
Okay. No, it's necessary.
No.
Okay.
But in the case of scholarships, you need to have the nationality of one of the member states of the European Union. Okay.
Okay. My nationality is Colombian.
Sorry?
My nationality is Colombian. No way.
Then you would not be eligible for DIPLOCAT, but you are eligible for the scholarships granted by Natolin on history and European civilization or journalism, communication, media, because they are open to all nationalities. So you can apply for those.
Okay.
And coming back to Laura, the academic programs, when you receive the journalism scholarship, you can choose anything in Natolin that you're interested in. Still, the major choice is open. All the courses that you're interested in are open. The only requirement would be that you need to write a thesis related to the scholarship you have received, meaning on a topic of journalism, media, communication. So that's the only requirement.
I have a question regarding the conditions. So, for example, if I'm finishing university this year, but I want to work for a year before applying for the master, will I be eligible for the master or not, because I will already have finished university?
No, absolutely. I mean, we do have students who decide to come to the college after having already acquired some professional experience. There is actually a whole section in the application form where you can indicate your professional experience. So, you know, you can either do it immediately after university, or you can decide to work and then come to the college. That is up to you.
Will I be able to apply for the DIPLOCAT scholarship then?
That's a question for Elizabeth.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
I will answer here. Adrià is writing in the chat. Adrià, l'any passat el col·legi et va dir principalment C1, per això vam posar. Aquest any, si el col·legi diu que serà D2, nosaltres haurem de posar D2 en els requisits de la beca. Posarem el que ens digui el col·legi. És que, clar, si diuen que amb un B2 és suficient, amb un B2 serà suficient. De totes formes, després a les entrevistes us fan parlar anglès i francès i el comitè de selecció llavors es valora.
Hello, I have a question, if I may.
Sure.
Can you hear me well? Okay, first of all, thank you so much for your presentation. And coming back to the languages, I have a question when it comes to proof. Is it also valid to submit an academic certificate, or it has to be, for instance, Cambridge certificate or some sort?
No, the academic certificate is perfectly enough. So if you have an internationally recognized one, okay. If you have something from your university, you know, your private teacher, professor, it's fine with us. Okay, because anyway, there is an interview. So, you know, we will check the level in English and in French when we interview you.
That's it.
And so, again, a question when it comes to the interviews, is at a national level, I guess, for each of the participants, and it's in English and both in French and English, the interview?
Precisely. When you select your selection committees, you will indicate Spain and then DIPLOCAT, and you will be interviewed in those selection committees. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I take the liberty to share once again, because some people joined us later, our newsletter link. So you have it in the chat, you see it now. So feel free to register if you want to keep in touch with us and have further information. Also, maybe I can share with you, because it always happens that then questions come up later. So I share with you our email address. So you can also send any question to us via email if they come up later. And I see there are two more questions that have appeared.
Yes. Rosa, escriu al xat el contacte i on està la pàgina de beques, perquè és que hi ha una pregunta.
Sí, ho acabo de posar. Ho acabo de posar.
Sí, no entenc la del Pol Villaverde, perquè nosaltres no tenim un butlletí newsletter de les beques. El que tenim és o la pàgina web de les beques o una adreça de contacte on ens podreu enviar.
Exacte. Jo he posat en el xat, he posat la web de DIPLOCAT a l'apartat de beques i ara acabo de posar el que és l'enllaç al formulari de contacte, que si esteu interessats en rebre informació, doncs ens escriviu mitjançant aquest formulari, nosaltres prendrem nota i quan obrim la convocatòria us avisarem.
I think someone was asking if there is a specific path or scholarship for people with disabilities. We do not have any specific scholarships for people with disabilities or any specific path. Of course, we do everything in our capacity to adapt and to make the program accessible with people with disabilities. We do have specific sections on the website which explain what we do in terms of inclusion, what we do in terms of equality on campus, and also in terms of access. So feel free to have a look at our website. It details that. And then if you have some more specific question related to your situation, you're free to send them privately via email, and then we will try to address them, of course. I've also shared our brochure. If you want to download it, it's in the chat. There is a question by Carla about the C1 Catalan level.
Sí.
Bueno, Rosa, contesta.
Això us ho contesto jo també. A les bases s'indica quin és la manera d'acreditar-ho, d'acord? Dependrà del vostre coneixement. Normalment és el certificat que expedeix l'Institut de Secundària seguint les direccions de la Secretaria General de Política Lingüística. Ja us passaré, a les bases et diu el decret, ara no sé quin decret és, no ho recordo, però sí que hi ha un model específic de certificat que és el que ens hauríeu de fer arribar.
A la nostra pàgina web estan penjades les bases de l'any passat, ja hi fareu.
Sí, a la web potser no ho indica la manera, però a les bases sí que posarà quina és la manera en com s'ha d'acreditar.
And then there is one question by Juan. Do you have any joint program? Yes, we do have one, but it is not compatible with the DIPLOCAT scholarships or hours that I presented before. It would be the Master of Arts in Transatlantic Affairs. We organized together with the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy in the United States. It's a 2-year program with the first year in Natolin and in Bruges, and the second year in the States. But it's a completely different program. I said 2 years, and it is compatible with Fulbright. You can find more information on that on the website of the college.
I will add one thing regarding this joint program. Us podeu presentar a les beques generals per aquest programa. És a dir, tenim les beques específiques per programes de Natolin i després, si voleu fer aquest joint program, de fet, l'any passat tenim una persona que està becada a Natolin per aquest joint program però nosaltres només fem els estudis d'un any. Només donem beca per màster un any, és a dir, el segon any us tindríeu que buscar el finançament per una altra banda, i després també molt important, que no ho he esmentat al principi, no donem beques per fer estudis de doctorat. En el cas de les beques generals. Les de Natolin no hi ha problema perquè es fa al col·legi, ja queda clar.
Okay, I don't know if there are any further last questions, last doubts that you want to convey with us before we close the meeting. Now it's the moment, in case, shoot in the chat. And if not, we have already shared, Ivan has shared his email, I shared contact Natolin.
Mai són compatibles. Només es pot... Si nosaltres ja tenim una beca, no us en donarem una altra pels mateixos estudis. Sí que pots fer un estudi d'un any i d'un altre any un altre estudi, llavors cada any amb una beca diferent. Però pel mateix any... Always the last question.
Yeah, exactly. That's good.
Great.
That's good. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you everyone for participating. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you, Laura and Laura. It was a pleasure to see you all. And I leave you the floor to draw the closing.
Well, many thanks to the College of Europe again for organizing this presentation. A tots vosaltres per haver-vos connectat i per l'interès que heu manifestat tant en el col·legi com a les beques. Agraeixo al CIC que ens ha ajudat en la difusió i per aquells que us presenteu a les beques, molta sort de part de l'equip de DIPLOCAT. Esperem que us puguem veure. Gràcies a tots.
Thank you, Ivan, and best of luck with the other actions in Catalonia.
Thank you, Matia, and thank you, everyone. Gràcies a tothom.
Gracias.
Gràcies.